Lix here, reporting from Red Square in Moscow. Just 2 kilometers from here, a 20-minute walk, stands one of Russia's most iconic landmarks, the Cathedral of Christ the Saviour. With its gleaming golden domes and towering white walls, it is a masterpiece of Orthodox architecture. Yet few buildings in Russia have endured a history as turbulent as this one. Originally built in the 19th century, the Cathedral of Christ the Saviour was erected to commemorate Russia's hard-fought victory over Napoleon's invading armies. For generations, it stood as a powerful symbol of national pride, a testament to Russia's resilience against European aggression, a theme that continues to echo in the country's politics today as Europe's hostility toward Russia resurfaces. Yet, in a twist of history, this sacred site met its demise under the orders of a man who once trained to be a priest, Joseph Stalin. Before rising to power, Stalin spent 5 years in a Georgian seminary studying to join the Orthodox clergy. But instead of serving the church, he turned to revolution. In 1931, Stalin had the cathedral dynamited, clearing the way for an ambitious Soviet project. The Palace of the Soviets, a colossal skyscraper topped with a statue of Lenin. The palace was meant to symbolize communist triumph over religion, but the plan stalled. For decades, the site sat empty, until the Soviets turned it into the world's largest open-air swimming pool. After the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991, Russia spiraled into chaos, while politically connected elites, both in Moscow and the West, snatched up state assets for pennies. Ordinary Russians faced unimaginable hardship. Hyperinflation hit 2,000% in 1992, wiping out life savings overnight. Pensions and salaries went unpaid. Homelessness exploded, with shantytowns springing up near train stations and even Red Square. Life expectancy plummeted as alcoholism, crime, and despair spread. Amid this suffering, Moscow's mayor, Yuri Luskov, made a controversial decision to rebuild the Cathedral of Christ the Saviour. The reconstruction was pitched as a symbol of Russia's spiritual revival, but funding, it was another matter. The government couldn't afford the estimated $1 billion price tag, so Luskov turned to corporate donors with heavy persuasion. Companies were offered tax breaks in exchange for contributions, but those who refused faced sudden audits and pressure. Critics accused the mayor of strong-arming businesses, but Luskov dismissed the claims, insisting the donations were voluntary. Meanwhile, the project became a political tool. Luskov, eyeing the presidency, used the cathedral's reconstruction to boost his nationalist credentials. But when Vladimir Putin emerged as the Kremlin's favored successor, Luskov stepped aside. The 1990s were Russia's Wild East, a lawless era where gangsters and oligarchs operated with impunity. Among them, Mikhail Khodorkovsky rose to prominence, exploiting the weakened state to amass an empire. With crucial support from Boris Yeltsin's inner circle, particularly his oil minister Boris Nemtsov, Khodorkovsky pulled off one of the decade's most brazen deals, acquiring Yukos, Russia's largest oil company, for pennies on the dollar. But the rules changed when Vladimir Putin took power. Determined to rein in the oligarchs, Putin moved aggressively. Khodorkovsky was arrested and later fled into exile. Meanwhile, Nemtsov, once a powerful insider, fell from grace. With no shortage of enemies, he was ultimately assassinated in 2015. A murder that critics immediately and without evidence blamed on Putin. I've covered Nemtsov's assassination in detail in a separate video. Check the description for the link below. The Orthodox Church, once persecuted under communism, also regained influence, but not without controversy. To fund its revival, the Church received tax exemptions on imports, including cigarettes and alcohol, labeled as humanitarian aid. Billions of tax-free cigarettes flooded the market, with profits flowing into church coffers. When the cathedral reopened in 2000, it was a triumph for the faithful, a physical rejection of Soviet atheism. But for many struggling Russians, the lavish spending was a bitter reminder of the enormous inequality that defined the 1990s. Under Putin, Russia stabilized. Homelessness receded from Russian cities, pensions were paid, and life expectancy rose. Yet the cathedral's reconstruction remains a divisive chapter. Was it a necessary restoration of national pride, or a costly vanity project built on the backs of the poor? What do you think? Should Russia have prioritized rebuilding the cathedral in the 1990s, or was the money better spent on social programs? And what does its story say about the relationship between faith, power, and politics in Russia? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you found this deep dive into Russian history fascinating, don't forget to like and subscribe. More stories like this are coming soon. Until next time, this is Lix, signing off from Moscow.